Hi everybody, I hope everybody's good. I am. I've been getting some questions. I get a lot of questions about this purple wreath. And when you do, they go, like, do you have a tutorial on that purple wreath? And I keep thinking about the one that I used to have behind here and had a black middle in it. And that's been gone forever. And I'm like, what are they talking about? I'm talking about my gigantic barn wreath. So I want to touch base on this guy. It's huge, folks. This is a 34-inch wreath, okay? Even this, the middle here, the middle ball is a 6-inch ball. So, you know, half a 6-inch ball or 4-inch or whatever, but it's big. It's the size of my hand. So this wreath is 34 inches wide, okay? And here's how I got there to make it that big and, you know, to be able to support it and everything else, okay? What I started with is I started with an 18-inch wreath form, okay? Then I took a 14-inch wreath form and I attached it to the middle. I zip tied it. I made sure that, you know, I could get, they were pretty much the same type of wreath forms so that, you know, these edges would all kind of, you know, match up as much as possible. And then I got a 10-inch and I put a 10-inch in here, okay? So now I've got 3 wreath forms in here, and then I put my mesh in here. Okay, so that's all I needed, and this gave me a 34-inch wreath. But it's very, very well supported. As you're doing your pedals, you're attaching, like you've got 2 and you're attaching into this bar. This bar actually makes 1, okay, because you've attached it to it. So you're attaching your pedals on there and you're really making this secure. So that's how I got this. This is how I made this, is with an 18-inch, a 14-inch, and a 10-inch. I guess you gotta go down 4 inches at a time. 18, 14, and 10. Absolutely. And they all fit together. And I just discovered that because this is my sister-in-law's wreath, okay? And I have to deliver it to her. So, and I think I was in Michael's, and I saw, you know, all these forms, you know, these wreath frames. You know, these fans coming at me. I seen all these wreath frames and all hanging there, and I went, well, look at that. They all fit together. So that's how I got it. You know, it's not a special frame. I put it together that way. So, yeah. And what I did was I started with a double pedal. So I got some, here is what I did, was I'm going to bring the camera down so you guys can see, okay? So this is actually for another wreath that I'm making, but that's okay. Here, I'll use this one. This is perfect. Okay, so the double pedal, this one here, all the way on the outside of the wreath, okay? I'll show you up here. All on here, okay? It's like from row 1 all the way till I got to the last 3 rows of this wreath. It's all double pedals. And then on the last 3, I got single pedals in here, okay? So your double pedal is this one here, okay? So your edge is up on the top. You bring your 2 middles in the middle, right? And then you push scrunch in the middle. Oh, sorry. I gotta bring my camera down. Sorry about that. Okay, let's start over. So edges on the top. Excuse my vacuum. It's running. Everything's loud in here. I'm gonna try and go talk over it. At least I don't have my radio on though. So edges on the top, corner in the middle, and then I bring that down. Sorry, excuse me. 2 in the middle. All right. Then we scrunch in the middle. We make a bow tie, okay, because we're making a double pedal. This over top of that one so that my edges are all going the same way. Let's remember our edges. And then I stick this on the wreath form. So I don't know how many rows I did. 1, 2, 3, know, 5 or 6 rows, you know, like this. And then the next one, the single petal, again, the edges up on the top, take your corners and you meet your 2 corners in the middle, okay? You form a triangle. And then I'm doing this really fast for you guys so that, you know, you can see it. Always make sure that your tip here, I always make sure, that's why my petals are always together, is that this stays, the hand stays there, and keep it down, and then I scrunch. All right, so now I've made, I tuck these guys in, and I start playing with my petal a little bit, and I make a single petal, okay? So this is my last 3 rows of that wreath, and that's it. And then I made my middle being, you know, one of those. So this is the pink cord that I was talking about, and this is where I ended this last petal. So the last 3 rows was this, okay? So it's pretty self-explanatory. This one lady, she really is, you know, everybody's saying that pink, that purple wreath, and it just wasn't clicking, and I'm terribly sorry about it. So I hope that explains, you know, how I got this to be so big, right? The fan's blowing at me and blew my hair all over. However, this is another thing too, you know, if you have a website, I would suggest anyone to really look at your website and make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. Because I ran into a problem last night with the wreath, and it was a friend of mine, you know. So she wanted this particular wreath, and I said absolutely, and I gave her a deal on it. And then, you know, when I got up this morning, look, it was actually a premium wreath. It was actually like it's on a 14-inch frame. It's huge, you know. It's not the smaller version as, you know. So I'm just going to remake it and make her a new one. So that's, you know, darn it, right? I hate that. I guess it's my own fault. It's my own fault. I should be taking a look at every single item and how it's, you know, supposed to look in my eyes, you know, so that you guys know what I'm doing. You know, by looking at it, this one lady asked me about my sunflower, and she said, what is this deco mesh, and what is fabric mesh, and what is poly burlap? Because I have 3 different sunflowers that I use different products for. So this is what I explained to her. So this is deco mesh, okay? We all know deco mesh. And this is the regular yellow that I use for my sunflower, okay? Now, last summer I did a whole pile of these, and it was crazy how much yellow I went through. So it became, we couldn't get any. So I did find this 2-tone yellow, and it's really, really nice. But I find that this one is better as a late black eyed Susan, because it is really, really, really dark, kind of orangey, right? But it still makes a beautiful sunflower, I have to say. Now, right now, I'm working with the yellow fabric mesh, all right? Now, that is beautiful stuff. This is a gorgeous, I love the fabric mesh. It's a beautiful yellow, pretty much, you know, pretty close to the 2 of these. And this is, I'm just making a flower right now, and I just wanted to show you how rich that looks. You know, fabric mesh makes it look so rich. I haven't put my metal in, it's a little flower. It's a gift for somebody, you know, so this is what I'm saying when on my website is, you know, fabric mesh being something different, yellow regular deco mesh. There's the 2-tone yellow, and also, you know, we can't forget our yellow poly burlap, right? So yellow poly burlap, again, is more like on that orangey side. So it can get pretty confusing when it come into colors. So I make my sunflowers in all of these 4 colors, so it's just a matter of what the customer wants. You know, do you want a rich looking one? Do you want one that looks real? You know, and even my middles, they're all different. So, like I said the other day in my video, your flower is what you make it. So if you think that your flower needs to have a brown middle or a purple middle, then that's what you do. You know, this one here used to have a black one, and I changed it, excuse me. I changed it because I didn't like it. It was just like a little button in there, and it just, I went, oh, I don't know, you know, it just bothered me. It's like my pink wreath as well. I had it hanging out in the front room, and I was like, there's something about this wreath that bothers me, okay? So it was kind of like my almond spice one, you know, kind of like this, but it had pink leaves in the front of this. Okay, here I went to the check, I stopped, I went, I love this, this is where I'm going to stop. So I had done the same thing on that last one, and it bothered me. Those single leaves by themselves bothered me. So I took it apart and I added some of these Star Trek petals in there, and then I just added a different metal, a flower. I love it so much more. I mean, this really richened up this wreath. So I guess if you want to upgrade your wreath, I guess, you know, you can do something like this. And this, folks, what I did is I cut a little piece of that mesh, just a little bit bigger than this, okay? And just a little circle, and this is what I made this on, okay? And then I put the flower through it, and then I put my wire through it, and I put it right through the wreath, because I didn't have any room left. Once these petals went down, I had no room left. I have enough room to put a wire through. That was it. So that's why I put this mesh in, I rolled it up, and I put a circle, I made a circle, and then I made this little guy, put this in the middle, and I wired it up into the wreath. So this is the result. Isn't it beautiful? I love the way it turned out. I'm really happy. So, on to the next thing. I gotta make this wreath now because I messed up. I mean, my website is messed up, but I do still want to talk to you guys about another thing. And I was at Dollar Tree. Oh my God. Dollar Tree has these globes now. They're snow globes, and they actually work. I tried it. It works. It's got a really good plug in it. I would probably, you know, when you pull this out, I would probably, once I would put this together, if I was going to put water in there, I would glue along the edge of that little bit there, because this is your plug, okay? And the instructions are all in there. So I started a little one right here. Isn't that cute? So I thought this would be really cute in the middle. Like it for a Christmas wreath, you know? Sticking that in the middle. You know, you imagine coming to the door, there's like a little snow globe in your flower. So what I did was on the plug, I'm not going to put water in this, but on the plug I put a little piece of glitter paper, and then inside here, okay, what I did was I took a piece of felt and I started gluing all my stuff on a piece of felt, and then I can just put it into the globe like so, place it where I want it, and I'm done. Yeah, Tudee's pretty crafty. So I wanted to pass that on to you guys, like, hey, what a beautiful little medal. You know, I'm going to put some snow in there, and, you know, we'll see where it goes. Yes, so I'm going to move on to this wreath. I'm going to bring the camera down. I also got these guys for $1.25. Lady said in the store she paid $10 for these last year. They're berry garland. There's 108 by 1 inch. 108 inches. That's really cool. These are longer than the ones I got, like this one here. These little guys for my sunflowers. They're 10 pieces, but they're like 16 inches each, so that's 160 inches. That's pretty close. Still, I like it better like this. You know, white and red. We didn't have any of the red, so I thought the red would be cool for Christmas. Throw that out, and then I got some. This is really nice wool for, you know, $1. You know, for my pom-poms, for my Santa hats. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing Santa hats. I'm going to be doing these globes. You know, I'm going to do a wreath where I'm going to put a globe in. I'm going to do a Santa hat, and I'm also going to do a Santa. I got some of these little trees. They were $1, you know, and they're cool because you just have a little glue on it and glue it onto your felt and then into your globe. Really cool little ideas that I love the dollar store for that, because, you know, it really makes your wreath rich, right? Okay, 16 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to start this wreath because I really want you guys to see what I'm doing here. It is the pinwheel, and the previous videos that I've made, I believe my camera was up and down. So I wanted to touch base on the pinwheel a little bit today, with my camera being, you know, the way it is. So I'm just gonna bring it down so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay, so how I cut the petals is I'm using poly burlap. I decided that I would keep these things, you know, and keep them out so that people know that I'm using a 10-inch. I'm using 10 inches, so I cut my petals at 10 inches. Always a perfect square. Regardless of the petal that I'm making, I will cut exactly what the mesh is, okay? The width of the mesh is what I'm going to cut. So if it's 10 inches, I'm going to cut 10 inches. If it's 10.5 inches, I'm going to cut 10.5 inches. Always, always, always perfect square. Here's where one I cut, made a mistake. You know, I got my little lines here, but I didn't see this one. I broke my glass again. And then, you know, of course, you know, I ended up with a petal that's, you know, too short because it was at 9 inches. Oops. So now this is way thick. It's no good, right? So here's how I cut my petal. Always, always your edges up on the top. And always make sure, this is a half a petal, okay, the pinwheel. So always make sure that when you're turning your petal, you're going to turn it this way. You're going to turn it the same way every time. I'm going to get a different color because it's pink, and I think this one's better. Yeah. Okay, so my edges are up on the top, okay? I turn it this way and I match it on my craft mat from the line goes right straight down across, okay? So I just stick my ruler on there. And then I put a weight on it, and I take my wood burner, okay, and nice and slow, I go and I cut this petal in half, okay? Now, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 of these because I don't have my mask on, but I do have this fan blowing at me, the window's open, it's all good. Please make sure you're well ventilated, and if you're not, wear a mask. Please, please, please. This is toxic fumes that you're working with. All right, so now look at that. My 2 edges are both on the same side. That's what we want, okay? Because at the end of the day, all I want to see is all my edges going the same way on my wreath, all right? So I'm going to do a pink one, same thing. Edges up on the top. And then, you know, I just stick my ruler down it, so just to hold it down, make it flat so that, you know, I don't have a bubble with my wood burner, right? I don't know if any of you have experienced the bubble of the burlap and the wood burner. Oh boy, what a mess. It gets caught up in here, and then it just makes a hole the size of your wood burner. It's all good, folks. Okay, so I try and slow down here a little bit because I want it almost to fuse together, you know. It's poly burlap is very delicate once you cut it. You know, it's just, all right. So from here, all right. So now I've got all these petals. All right, I'm going to start. So I have pink and I have brown. Okay, so pink and brown. Brown and pink. Brown and pink. Okay, so here I'm going to use black zip ties here because this girl has a tendency of putting her wreaths outside, and then she says I didn't tell her, but you know, we're just gonna say okay to that. So I take my petal, and I just, which is this one? Did I cut these wrong? I did cut these wrong. They were supposed to be cut in half, but I can still do it. Okay, you know what it was? Here's how these are supposed to be cut, folks. I messed this up big time. So you take your corner and you bring this down because we gotta fuse these petals. But you know what? I'm not gonna waste these petals. I'm gonna use them anyway. So I take my roller. I'm so sorry. But hey, let's make mistakes together, okay? Because this is something that everybody can learn from, because like, hey, wow, right? Where was I going with this? Yeah. I guess I'm just rushing because, you know, last night she called and said she wanted this wreath. So this is the actual petal we want, folks. This is the one, okay? This is the pinwheel wreath, the pinwheel petal. Now, I think I can recover these petals by folding it, okay, and making my petal. I'm not going to lose these petals, not because I was not paying attention. So this is a good thing, okay? I'm going to go right ahead and stick this on my wreath form right away. So I am going to start with a brown, and I'm going to do one bar only. I put my head at the back. So, did I do this wrong or what? So now this one goes like this. I'm going the wrong way. Oh my gosh, folks, I cut all these petals for nothing. Yikes. You see what I mean? Wow. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's just for something else, I guess. Oh, I can't believe I did that. But you know what? This is a single petal. I could make something else. I could take these petals. I'll put this on top, right? No problem. I'm not going to waste nothing here. I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to create these petals with this. I'm going to do a fusion on this because it did get a little bit frayed. So, like I said, I'm not going to waste anything. I'm not going to lose anything. I'm going to keep this petal as a single petal for another wreath. I have a box of petals, okay, of extra petals that I've made from previous wreaths and stuff like that. So this kind of forces me into making a wreath like this. And that's what I'll do. It'll be that simple, folks. It'll be a small one, but it'll be nice. There we go. You know, I mean, there's no point in wasting anything, right? I can't believe I actually did that, but hey, it happens, right? So all this I have to put away for another time. And I'm glad I did that because it showed us, hey, you know what? I'm human. All right. So I'll put them over here. And now I'm gonna burn another one because, like, my gosh, you guys gotta see what this works. Okay, so I take my edges up on the top, I bring it down to the middle, and I form a perfect triangle, okay? We want our tips here to match. This is where it's important on this pinwheel. Edge, tip, tip, okay? And then I take my wood burner, my ruler, and I kind of match with my corner here so that, you know, I'm gonna come down straight. And then here I kind of tip it a bit because it seems to come apart, and then I go a little bit slower so that I get a good fusion on this petal. At the end, I just kind of tuck that down so that it glues together, and now I've got this, okay? I'm so sorry I did that. I can't believe I did that. So now we've got these. I don't want to make, I'm at 26 minutes, so I'm just going to show you what I do. I think it's 2-1, 2-1. Okay, so I take my petal, my edges over on the side, and then I scrunch that in. I take my little zip tie, bar 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm using bar 2, just the bar, 1 bar, and then I'm going to clip that in. Stick that in there, and I should be right over here actually, because I want all my edges to be on the same side, okay? So, next one, again, edges over on the side, and then scrunch that in. Now, I wanted to do 2 and 1, so I'm going to put this petal over here, because I really want to make this wreath the same as the other one, but smaller, in a smaller version. Because that's what she ordered. She ordered that particular wreath, and I want to make it the same, but in a smaller way. So there's 2 to 1. So I got 1, 2, 2 pinks, and then I go 1 brown, 2 pinks, 1 brown, 2 pinks. Ooh, where do you come from? So here again on bar 2, I'm going to put it over here, tie that off, and I'm going to put that on top of that petal. Okay, I want to make sure that my edges are all going the same way. And now this one can come over, and it too. I'm not going to worry that it's going on a slant. I'm going to camera up a little tiny bit. So my petals are slanting, but I like that because this is going to give me my pinwheel effect, okay? So we want that pinwheel effect. It's very important. To me it is. So I'm just going to tighten these down enough so that they don't fall out. Like if someone was to pull on this, then, you know, it's not going to fall out of the zip tie. That's happened several times. It's because I hadn't tied it in enough, especially with the sunflower. It's really bad. So now I've got 2 pinks and 2 browns, and I don't have any more petals left, and I am at 28 minutes. So I don't normally go any further than this. So I'm just going to continue this pattern, and this is my pattern right here. So the next 2 will be 2 pinks and a brown, okay? And that's probably all I'm going to have on this first bar. The next bar, I'm going to start here, okay, in between these 2 petals. I'm going to put a pink one on bar 3, and then a brown, and then a pink, and then 2 pinks, and then a brown, and then 2 pinks. I'm going to end up back over here with a pink. I should end up with a pink over here, okay? This kind of makes you, it shows you that you're on the right track, okay? If you come back, and you're going to put the right petal on your last, on the first one that you did. So that being said, I'm at 30 minutes. Oh my gosh. But we did cover a lot. And I'm gonna bring camera up. And see this back one? I did the same thing as I did with my pink one here. And that's kind of what gave me the idea of putting these petals in there. It's just that this one here was so dark. And because I had the burgundy on it. And then once I put these check petals in there, it just popped out. It's like sometimes you just need a little extra something in there, right? And sometimes you just don't. It's just, you know, plain and simple, and that's it, right? So on that note, folks, my little globe, okay? And I hope this was self-explanatory to you people. If you don't understand what I did there, please, like I said, there's 4-inch difference in between the two wreaths, okay? The two forms. And I zip tie these two together. And then I put a mesh in that last one. So I got 18, 14, and then 10. So it's 4 inches in between. So hopefully that was informative for you guys. I would like to wish everybody a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you'll be notified on my next tutorial. I'm going to continue this wreath because I got to have it out of here before Wednesday when I leave. I will touch base on it before I leave, so I'll show you guys, you know, the result of it. This is not going to be a very big one. I've got it on a 10-inch frame, and it's right now adding, let's see, about not quite 5.5 inches. So that's, you know, a 5.5 inch circumference of your wreath. So if you have a 10-inch frame, and then you got an additional 5 inches here and an additional 5 inches here, that's going to give you a 25 inches frame, 25-inch wreath. So I think that's my calculation is right. However, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Any comments is great. You know, I answer you guys pretty quick. You know, I look at it every night, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm working on 500 right now for subscribers, and I think it's really cool. So on that note, I'd like to wish everybody a beautiful day, and God bless to each and every one of you. And all you Canadians out there, let's go vote. We gotta get somebody out. Have a great day, folks. Bye. Buttons, buttons, buttons. Come on, button.